Hi, everybody. Welcome to class this morning. So before we get started, I just wanted to share, I've been actually meaning to do this forever. But if you have a Spotify account, my account is called Amaryllis Center, AMARYLLIS CENTRE. If you go on there, I've made my playlists all open. So you'll be able to play any of my music, and you could do that on like a replay or in your future classes if you'd like, if you enjoy my music. And then for today's practice, for today's flow, I have two blocks that I'm going to be using. If you don't have blocks, then no worries, but I am going to be using them, so you can just modify as you wish. Okay, so let's begin. We're actually going to start standing, and one of the things that I want to talk about just before we begin is, and I speak about this a lot in class, but use less of your eyes when you're practicing. So a little bit more of using your the sense of hearing. So I try and cue my classes in a way where you don't have to necessarily see me do it in order to understand. And that's really good practice so that when the studio reopens, you're not so distracted with looking around and trying to figure out what to do and if you're doing it right, and rather just going inside, feeling the postures. So try and practice that a little bit today. All right, so have your feet probably a little bit wider than hip width apart, and just feet in a natural position, facing forward or slightly out. And then with your arms just by your sides, we're just going to start with a little bit of this. It's actually a Qigong movement, but you're going to let your arms be really loose, and they're just going to hit the side of your body as you turn from side to side. And so today's practice, and all of my online classes, very much replicate sort of like what I'm requiring in my own body. And twists are something that my spine really needs right now. So as you do this and your arms are just sort of slapping the side of your head, please close down your eyes and watch your breath as you move. See if you can maintain a steadiness in your breath and just let your arms go. Now you can speed it up. You can go a little bit faster. You can close down your eyes as well. And all the while as you do this motion, as you do this movement, your breath is flowing in and out. Feel that your spine is a little bit taller, so the crown of your head lifts up towards the sky. And notice your feet really settled into the ground, onto the ground. Just a little bit longer here. Going faster even if you want to. And then you slowly turn it down, and it gets slower, 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 until you're eventually just at a standstill. Please close down your eyes and feel the movement, the energy, your chi moving throughout your body. All right, so you can open your eyes, and if your feet are not wider than hip width apart, do that. Put your feet there. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. As you exhale, left hand over the right, you're going to push down to the floor, bend your knees into a squat. And then inhale, arms open up, reach up. Other hand on top, the right hand pushing down. Inhale, reach, look up. Left hand over right, come down. And now as you do this, we're going to watch the function of our body. As you watch this function, Notice when your knees bend, if there's a spot, if there's a point where you feel a little bit sensitive. Maybe if that's the case, if you feel something tweak or you feel something speak a little louder, invite other parts of your body to engage. Just 2 more of these. Activate your fingers as you stretch your hands up. And the last time to come down. All the way down. Now, from here, you're in a squatting position, so knees are quite bent. As you press inside your knees, start to lengthen through your spine and gather your hands closer to your heart. Now, to sort of keep us on track, especially mentally, just set your intention for the practice. You can let your chin drop. Look down at your hands, pressed together in front of your heart. All right, from the outer edges of your feet, push them down. Take your pinky fingers and thumbs to touch, but spread your fingers open. And inhale, reach up. Stretch up as you push down through the feet. Arms spread open wide, coming down. Gather the hands in, lengthen your spine, and stretching back up. Push into the outer edges of your feet as you do that, and then back down. Push down to lift. Fill your lungs big full, and then coming down. Last time to inhale and go up. And then exhale, coming down. All the way. Take your hands together in front of your heart. Rock a little bit from side to side. Now, from here, drop your left shoulder and start to lift your right elbow up. We're going to keep our hands together in prayer. And just see if you can twist looking over to the right. Take just an in-breath here. And then go to the other side. First, drop your right shoulder. Lift your left shoulder and elbow and look over to the left. Twist. Nothing too intense just yet. Drop your left elbow, left shoulder. Inhale, right side up. And then change. Dropping down to inhale up. One more flow each side. Drop your left elbow and shoulder and lift. So we're going to find some freedom in our bodies through movement today. And if it's possible to be continually moving, that's one of the goals of my practices here. Then just turn, pivot so that you're facing the front edge of your mat as you know it. And just step the left foot back all the way. Drop your knee to the floor. Grab your blocks in. Again, you really don't need the blocks. If you can modify, you even put your hand on the knee, left arm up. But we'll take the left arm to the sky, right hand on the block, and just stretch long through the left side. Take a breath in here. And then when you exhale, both hands on the blocks or the floor, and lift your back knee, straighten your right leg. And drop your head. When you inhale, peel the shoulders back, bend the front knee, and lift your gaze. Then go back again, right hip back. And up as you drop your head. One more flow to lift your chest and bend the front knee, and exhale to fold forward. Take an inhale, look forward, and exhale, just step forward. Come to a forward fold with your feet apart. You can hold your elbows. You can drop your arms, but find slight movement from side to side. Your hands can also clasp behind your knees or behind your calves. And then just fully drop your head. All right. Then inhale, lift your chest halfway up, hands on your blocks. And you can keep your left hand on the block. Sweep the right hand behind you first, so along your side. Lift it up towards the sky. And then start to peel the right shoulder. This movement might be really small. Keep your both knees equally bent slightly. And then when you exhale, tip the right hand down and all the way forward with your hand. Drop the hand on the block. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left hand is going to sweep back. Inhale, open the left shoulder, very slight movement without moving the hips. And then exhale, bringing the hand back. Inhale, forward reach. And then exhale, on the block. Now other side. Inhale, right hand back and lift up. Now you're going to bend your left knee a lot, and you're going to peel your chest open. You're going to take the right hip behind you. And then take the right hand behind all the way to hook around to the front of the left thigh. Really bend the left knee and exaggerate the straightness of your right leg. Now with your left hand, if you're hovering it off the ground, awesome. And if you have your hand on the block, turn to hovering the hand off the block or off the floor. And then inhale, reach your left hand forward and just hold here for 3. Breathe for 2. And 1. Forward, fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift, hands to your knees or your shins. And then exhale, fold. We'll do that one more time. So halfway lift. This is about having a really straight spine. And then put your hand on the right block or in front of you. Inhale, left hand sweeps back and right knee bends. And you open your chest towards the left. With your arm extended up, take that hand behind your back and hook it around the front of the right hip. So really exaggerate the bend of the right knee and the straightness of the left leg. And then turn and shift your gaze up. Quite possible. And then if that right hand is on the block, hover it off the ground and just be steady here with your breath. Feel the crown of your head pulling forward, and the right hand can extend straight out in front of you, and we'll just stay here for 3. Navel to spine for 2. Good. 1. Forward, fold, fold, fold. Now inhale, halfway lift. Grab your blocks and step your right foot back. You can drop your knee to the floor. And with your left hand on your block beside your hip, you're going to take your right arm up towards the sky and stretch long through the right side. Now your back knee, if it is uncomfortable on the floor, you can also hover it. You can lift it off. I know there's a lot of people with sensitive knees, so you can adjust as you need to. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, hands on both of your blocks. You want to straighten out the front leg and lift your hips, chin to chest, and just curl in. When you inhale, knee bends and your chest lifts up, shoulders back, and then go back again. So flowing with your breath. And just moving your spine along with your legs, with your body. Exhale. Last time to inhale, lift your gaze, and then take your blocks in front of you. And let's fly the right leg up. All right, so now from here, we're going to keep the hips level. Right hip comes down, and lift up the right hip. Lower the right hip, lift it. And so you start to notice the function of the right or left hip and the left leg. You want to keep the right leg alive and a right foot alive, so toes wake up. Otherwise, the right leg will feel really heavy, and this will feel like a lot of work. So you want to really ignite and wake up the right foot. So lifting and lowering. And we're going to do this 5 more times. So if you don't have blocks, your hands can be at your heart, and you're doing this functional movement here for the hips. 2 more times. A tiny, tiny bend of the left knee to help you. And then exhale, just step forward and fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift, and take your left foot back behind you. And we go straight to the other side. So hips are level. You notice that. You don't need a mirror to tell you that your hips are level. You notice the difference when you lift the hip and when you lower the hip. Lift it and lower it. And feel the length of your spine. And certainly not having your hands on blocks makes it a little bit harder. So you can also lift your chest quite a bit if you need. But we're really thinking about the functional movement here of just the hips, just the legs. How the rest of your body supports you in the movement by waking up the left toes, spreading the toes far apart. And we'll do this 5 more times. Waking up that area, feeling your navel pull into your spine to really engage your core as well as you do this. Last time, lift the leg, lift the hip, and then bring your feet together and fold forward. Bend your knees, inhale, reach up to the sky, and clasp your fingers. Release your index fingers, thumbs crossed, lift and stretch tall, and reach up and over to the right. For half moon, standing half moon here. And so you want to soften the shoulders down. And we're going to take this further by letting the right hand press to the side of your right leg. Now glue your navel to your spine as you move your hips further to the left. Keep reaching through the left side. Left hand, keep your legs straight. And then inhale, come back up to center. Clasp your fingers, opposite grip, press down through the feet. Release index fingers, stretch up, and reach over to the left. Other side. So you want to keep your chest and your hips level, say, to the front of your mat. And then take your left hand down to your side body, to the side of your legs. And see if you can even press your hips a little further to the right. You don't want the chest to collapse forward, all the while your chin is lifted. Your feet glued to the ground, most of the weight in your heels. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And 1. Come up to center. Now take both of your arms up over your head. Take your right arm underneath, cross and twist, tie your arms together. Now, drop your elbows down. Hands can come to your wrists. You can also interlock the fingers or keep your hands in prayer. And then lift up the right leg. Right knee comes up towards the elbow. All right, from here, extend your right foot back behind you. So first, balance in this sort of like a warrior 3, but with eagle arms. And then bend the front knee and step it all the way back. So you're in a low lunge. Now your back knee can touch the floor or not. If you have a sensitive knee, hover it off the ground. Now look forward and then shift your gaze up and lift your elbows as high as they can go. Take your fingertips behind you and look up. Then when you exhale, tuck your chin into your chest and start to pull your elbows down into your torso, drop your chin. Inhale to lift your chest, expand, pull your fingers away from the elbows, and then exhale, elbows in, contract, pull in tight, tailbone forward. We'll do 1 more cycle. Inhale to lift up. And then exhale to come in here. All right, now lengthen your spine. Take your right hand down below your shoulder, right foot off your mat a little bit, a side plank variation, so left leg back. Lift your left arm up. Expand through the front side and the back side of your body. Wake up your fingers, bend your left knee. Hold your foot. And if you can't hold your foot, no worries. Just extend your foot back. Even keep your left foot on the floor. Look up. And then just looking forward, and we're going to step the left foot all the way forward. Then shift that back foot in to the other side of your mat. Shift your gaze over to the right. First, lengthen your spine. Keep the bend of your left knee and walk your hands over to the right. Take an in-breath to lengthen. And then exhale, shoot to the back of your mat, start to straighten your left leg, and you come into another side plank variation. So this can get turned into something more like a wild thing, where you shift your your gaze up, your chest opens, look up, even drop your head. And then look at the right hand first. You're going to shift, and come into a high plank by stepping your right foot back. High plank. So from here, you want to really feel like you're puffing up your upper back up towards the sky. You're going to pull your heart forward, and you're going to pull your heart back. Forward and back. Come into a neutral position, and then roll your feet to the right, and roll your feet over to the left. And so one more time, over to the right and over to the left. Notice your upper body stays solid. Your wrists are directly underneath of your shoulders. And then back into a neutral position. Bend your knees and pull your hips back, then up towards the sky. This is a downward dog. Pedal your knees, your heels, up and down. And then look forward, bend your knees and either hop or step forward. Take an inhale to halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and when you exhale, hinge. Forward fold. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, left arm comes underneath, cross twist tie. Your arms. Now lift your elbows up towards the sky and then drop your elbows down. See if you can interlock your fingers. Possibly. All right, and then the left knee is going to lift up towards the sky. And then slowly you're going to extend the foot back behind you. So coming into this warrior 3 variation with your arms in eagle shape. Bend your front right knee, and as slow and quietly as can be, step it back into a lunge, letting your knee hover or not. Now start to lift your fingertips up. Start to look up, even drop your head back. And when you exhale, pull everything to the center line. Think of contracting in, chin in. And then inhale, opening up, blossoming. Open the heart, spread the fingers behind you, and then pulling it in. Good. Keep moving with your breath to inhale and lift your gaze. And the last time to exhale and pull in to center. Okay, and then take your left hand down, unravel the arms, and find that side plank variation. So the right foot extends as the right arm lifts. You can bend your right knee and hold your foot. Start to kick back behind you. Even shift your gaze and look up. And then just very gently release the foot. No slingshots here. Look forward and step the right foot forward. Your back foot will come in to the other side of the mat. Move your hands over to the left, lengthen your spine, and hinge forward. We stay for a breath in only, and when you breathe out, walk to the back of your mat, to the left side. Plant your hand and extend. Now you start to open up. You're extending through the side body, which translates to a back bend if you want to go into that. Take a full breath in. And we'll look at the left hand first. Let's go right into a downward facing dog with your hips up to the sky. Take an inhale, come forward to high plank. Exhale, go right down to your belly on the floor. Now, when you inhale, feet up and hands up behind you, you're going to reach back. And when you exhale, hands below your shoulders, just touch your forehead down. Inhale, cobra with your feet staying down. Push a little onto your hands. Keep the elbows bent. And then go down. Inhale everything up. Your hands up and your feet, your legs, and go back down. Cobra, push the tops of your feet down. Fire through your legs. And then go down. We have one more cycle. Your chest up, your hands back and up, legs up and down. Cobra. Now pull your navel into your spine. Notice the shoulders stay away from your ears. tuck your toes, press into the hands, downward dog. Lift your right leg up towards the sky. Bend your knee and open your hip. Take a full breath in, and exhale, knee touches your nose. A giant step forward. Now in your full lunge, your back knee is lifted, your arms lift up. Good. Take your hands to your heart center, pull your heart forward and fly. Lift your left leg up. Now we're going to turn to the left with our upper body and with our hips, and this becomes half moon variation because your hands are at the heart. And then we slowly just hinge it back, so left hip comes back down. You're looking at the ground in front of you and step back into a low lunge. Your back knee touches the floor or hovers, lengthen your spine and twist, turn to the right. Your elbow can touch your knee and your back foot can lift up as you twist, just for 3, not here very long, for 2. And then plant the back foot down and inhale, rise up to crescent lunge. Your arms come up towards the sky. Exhale, left hand comes down. Sweep your right arm up towards the sky. Twist, and then exhale, a downward facing dog. Come forward to breathe into plank. And then exhale, chaturanga, or all the way to the ground. An upward dog or a cobra. Shoulders back. Downward dog. Lift your left leg. Bend your knee and open your hip. Take a full breath in. And pull your knee forward. Maybe it touches your nose. And step into a crescent lunge. Your arms come up towards the sky. Gather your hands to your heart, leaning forward with the crown of your head forward, and fly into Warrior 3. But hands at your heart. Then lift your right hip. Like a half moon variation, you're turning your upper body to the right, as well as your right hip, as well as your toes. And then lower the right hip, look down on the floor, but keep your right foot lifted. Take a full breath in and step back, long step. Drop your back knee, hands stay at your heart, lift up your chest, and then turn to the left as you twist. Now you can press your elbow into the outside of the knee and lift your back foot. Turn as you twist. Good, and then plant your back foot. We'll rise back up into a lunge, a crescent lunge. Lift your arms, and then right hand comes down, twist. Lift your left arm up towards the sky. Full breath in. And when you exhale, hands plant, downward dog. Forward to plank, lower halfway, chaturanga. You can all go all the way to the ground too. Upward dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. Now take your feet a little bit wider back behind you. Even maybe turn your toes outward and walk your hands back to your feet, but bend your knees. And sit down low. All right, drop your left elbow, left shoulder, and then maybe extend through the hand as your right arm comes up towards the sky. Lift up. And we'll go into the other side. Let your shoulders do the work here. Drop your right shoulder, right elbow. Hand comes out and left arm up. Lift. All right, other side. One more time. We're going to really press the outer edges of the feet down. Lift your hands. And back down. Lift, lift, lift. Okay, then from here, bring your hands a little bit more in front of you, separate your hands shoulder distance. And you can play with this. So there's 2 options. First option is that your hips stay down low. And you try, and actually, I think this is harder than the other version of crow. But you keep your hips low and just try and lift your toes off the ground. So you got to really open your hips. And you can play with that. Just do that a couple of times. And then the next option is like hug your elbows in, lift your hips and take your knees to the back of your arms. And you sort of make this ledge. I find that a little bit easier. So up to you if you want to give that a go a few times. And then you can come back to a space where your feet are together and you just open your knees, and almost like you're fanning your knees open side to side. All right, and then separate the feet hip distance apart. Walk your hands forward into plank and roll your feet over to the right, side plank. Lift your left arm. Lift your left leg up also if you want to. And then keeping the leg lifted if you have it, you're going to step the left foot forward without the left hand going on the floor. All right. So sweep your left hand forward first in front, and then open your chest. Okay, and then look down and peel the inside, so press the inside of the right foot down, and the heel comes in, because we're going to rise up for warrior 2. So when you come up, relax your shoulders away from your ears. Your arms reach apart. Find some movement in your legs. And just look at the inside of the left foot. Be sure you can see it. Take the left palm up, inhale, reverse your warrior. You can reach it back. And then side long angle, elbow comes to your knee. Right hand extends forward. All right. So this is where you can use a block or not. So put the block under your left hand, right arm up. And then maybe come a bit more forward with this block so that you can lift the right foot up. This is Halfmoon. All right. So now gather your hands to your heart. Extend the leg back. And then when you inhale, lift up into standing with the right knee forward, looking forward. When you exhale, you're going to open up back. Now, you can do this with your hand on the block if you need to. And then you come back up, hands to heart. Exhale, the foot goes back. Inhale, you come back up. All right, let's do 2 more like that. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, extend. And exhale, come up. Now lengthen your spine. And exhale, twist, holding your knee, extending your right hand behind you. Now, if you want a little bit more, straighten out the right leg. And then coming back to look forward, keeping the leg extended if you want to. Otherwise, bend at the knee, reach your arms up. And warrior 3, arms reaching forward, foot back behind, and step back to plank with the left leg hovering lower halfway, chaturanga, upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Drop your head, shift your hips from side to side. And then come forward to a plank and roll your feet over to the left. Side plank, right arm up. Lift your right leg if you want to. Otherwise, keep the right foot on top of the left. Use your side body. And then looking forward, and it's a big giant step without using the right hand. Into a crescent, left hand plants, and the right arm just comes up, so you're twisting. And then feel your navel pull into your spine as you twist, as you lift your right arm. Find the instep of the back foot, come down, heel touches the ground, and you're going to lift all the way up into warrior 2. Press firmly into both of your feet. Reach your arms apart. And then find movement in your body, bending one knee, bending the other even. You're going to take your right hand, flip it up. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, side long angle. So your elbow touches your knee. And your left arm extends over your head. Reach long. And you can look for your block, because the next step will be going into Halfmoon. So you can bring your block in front of you and lift off. Halfmoon. So your hands can be at your heart if you don't have a block. All right, hand up, take a full breath in, and then exhale, pull your knee forward, stand up tall. Inhale, extend it back. And exhale, pull it in. Keep going. Use your breath. Connect with your center point. Pull it in. So steady your breath, steady your pose. Open your shoulders, your chest. 2 more. Last time, bring your knee forward and stand up. Stand up tall. Take your right hand to your knee, and your left hand is going to extend back behind you. You can keep your knee bent. You can straighten the leg. You can lift your gaze. Feel the crown of your head pull up. And then turn your gaze back forward. Lift your arms up. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And 1. Warrior 3 with your arms reaching forward. Extend, extend. And step it back. Twist, left hand down, right arm up. And then exhale, float the right leg, plank, and lower halfway. Both of your feet touch upward dog, downward dog. Take a full breath in, and when you exhale, knees bend, look forward, feet outside your hands, hop. And then lower your hips down. All right. So bringing your hands close to your heart, tailbone down, crown of your head up. Let's do this one more time. Drop your left shoulder, extend the arm out. Even take a mudra with your hand. Right arm up. Exhale back to center. Lengthen your spine. Right hand out. Mudras. Outer edges of the feet connect. And back to center. Lengthen your spine. All right, and then take your hands behind you and just walk your hands back. So you're in this like reversed tabletop position. Now notice that you want to puff up your chest up towards the ceiling. You want to feel almost like your tailbone is pulling forward to the back of your calves. Then feel the front of your thigh bones lift up towards the sky. And if it's comfortable for your neck, you can drop your head behind you. Okay, next step is straighten your legs all the way forward. You can keep your knees bent if this becomes too much. Lift. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And then 1. Lower your hips down. Bend your knees and bring your feet in a little closer or a lot closer to your chest. Now with your feet together, your knees together, your hands can start off behind your legs as your feet lift. So possible to go all the way straight. Possible that your knees need to stay bent. Then if it's possible here too to extend your hands and arms forward, go for it. See if you can straighten more through your spine. Stay for 3. Breathe for 2. And 1. Keep your knees lifted over top of the hips and lay onto your back. All right, take your hands behind your head. As your left elbow is going to touch your right knee, pull it in and just extend your left leg out. Then come back to center and pop your hips off the ground. Go to the other side, twist, center pop, twist, center pop. Keep going from side to side. And now the key point here is that you are moving to the rhythm of your breath. That there's stability in your movement as you pop your hips up and as you drop your hips down, side to side. And you also want to keep one leg from lifting higher than the other. I noticed that my one foot wants to go higher. See if you can keep your feet level. All right, do 5 more on each side. Are you breathing? Use your hands to hold your head if you feel like it's hurting your neck at all. Doing 1 more each side. Okay, and then lay your head back for a moment and straighten up your legs. And I understand that a lot of people to lay down and have straight legs, it doesn't work. So bend your knees to do that, okay? Right leg is going to go over top of your left leg. If it's possible to straighten up your legs, do that. Lengthen your spine. Left elbow is going to touch or come close to your right knee, and then lay back. Now, we're not laying all the way back. We're just coming to a center point. Exhale, twist. Center point. Exhale. Now, keep going. Only twisting to the right. See if you can keep your shoulders lifted. See if you can wake up your toes. And if it's possible, squeeze your thighs together. Let's go for 5. Make sure you're breathing. For 3. For 2. For 1. Take your feet together. Right elbow, right knee. Left elbow, left knee. Side to side. So, your shoulders can stay level to the floor. Some of you might not actually even touch your knee with your elbow. That's fine. Just pull your knee up towards your elbow, elbow to knee, side to side. All right, let's go for 3, for 2, for 1. Back up with your legs. Left leg in front, squeeze your legs together, lift your heart, and twist to the left. Exhale, twist. Inhale, level, twist. All right, so at this point, you probably feel the burn. Squeeze your thighs and breathe. Wake up your toes. And then invite also, when you twist, feel your navel pull into your spine. Now, it's important for you to hear right now that what's coming next is going to feel good, I promise. All right? So let's just increase this. We got 5 more. Twist, squeeze your thighs, straighten your legs. For 3, for 2, and 1. Now just bend your knees. Okay, so your shins stay parallel to the floor. You turn your feet to the left and reach your left hand towards your heel. Then reach your right hand towards your right. So you see your shins stay parallel to the floor. Your knees and your ankles close together. Your heart is lifted, just turning from side to side. Now, at that last squeeze, feel your shoulder blade moving down your back closer to your pelvis. Squeeze in, squeeze in. All right. Breathe, turn for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then just finish it off with the foot towards the right hand. And plant your feet. Okay, rest your head down and lift your hips up. So you want to take your fingers and be able to rub the back of your heels As your hips lift up, little bridge. So you can take your hands closer together to interlock your fingers, or you can keep your arms by your side, lifting your hips. Feel that there's an even amount of work from the back of your heels, traveling up the back of your legs, all the way up to your lower, even mid-back, maybe even upper back. Feel the leveling out of the work there. And then lower your hips down and just in a neutral position without doing anything, rest. So here's a choice. You can go back into this bridge, or you can set your hands in the backward somersault position and go up into wheel. So you can drop your head, whether in wheel or bridge. Just be sure that your knees are not splaying too far open. And then make sure you tuck your chin in if you're in wheel, and we come back into a neutral spine. Neutral spine, not doing anything. Except for taking just a couple deep breaths. Let's go up one more time. Wheel or bridge. So even in wheel, it's not doing too much work in one place, right? Evening out the work for the whole back side of your body, getting that nice opening for the front line. If you want to play with this and lift one of your legs up, you can do that. The right, the left. And then slowly come back down to rest. Neutral position to rest. All right. Then take your feet in a little closer. Right knee comes in. Interlock your fingers to the front of your knee. Avoid your ribs. Pull the knee in. And then slowly extend your left leg down. Start off with a nice squeeze, and if you want to lift your right foot up and hold the outside of your foot at the same time as keeping your knee hugging in outside your rib cage. You can do that. Now, if you have the flexibility, your left hand can hold the bottom of the foot, and you can extend the right leg out and pull it across. Otherwise, keep the knee bent and hold your knee. Right arm extends to the side. You can lift your left knee. I like to sort of do a wrapping of the legs as you twist. Keep your shoulder, right shoulder, close to the ground for this twist. All right, and then straighten out the left leg down towards the top of your mat. Lift your left arm up by your ear and just turn over onto your belly. Now, with your right leg extended out, you can start with your knee bent and lift up onto your elbows. If it becomes too much even to be on your elbows, you can stay down close to the floor, or you can drop your knee closer to your left foot. If you want more out of this, straighten the right leg to the side. And if you want more yet, you can come all the way up onto your hands, intensifying the stretch. And then just be really sure where your left leg is in space. Tuck your toes under and almost like lift your left kneecap off the ground. Just fire through the leg. This still works if you're on your elbows too. And then pull your navel in towards your spine. If your arms are straight, bend your elbows a little bit, and you're going to pull your hips back. This right leg is just coming along for the ride. You're going to bring your right foot forward and sit down towards the floor. So a lot of people need a block under the right hip, and you want to get to the point where your left heel is outside of your hip. So lean back. So I put a block under my hip because that helps to level out both my hips. And sometimes you get to a point where you open a little more and you can set both of your hips down. Now a blanket works too, rolled up pillow even. You can make your own yoga props. Laying back. Now if you want to go all the way back, you can. You can also take your right ankle above your left knee. And you almost want to feel like there's some weights on the bottom part of your torso or your whole body. The lower part of your body is like being magnetized to the floor as the upper part of your body kind of pulls in the opposite direction. Just take a few breaths here. And then you want to just gently come back up and step forward onto the right foot. You can lift your hip off the left heel. All right, so now as you come up, we're just going to take another lift of your chest and place your left hand on the right knee. Right hand can open back behind you. Then dropping the hand back behind to drop it to your ankle, even your block. And then your left arm first up, but then bend the elbow so that you can sort of hold your head and go back. Okay. And then come back forward onto your hands. Hug the right heel into your groin and set up for pigeon. So right knee out to the side, sitting up tall, and then just lowering yourself down. Not too long. Just enjoy a couple more deep breaths. And then sitting on the right hip, bringing your left leg first forward and then right leg forward into boat. Lengthen your spine, let your arms open, and then lower yourself all the way onto your back. Bring your left knee in, avoid your ribs, straighten out the right leg. And if you did so on the other side, you can hold the outside of the left foot, bend the knee, pull your knee towards the floor, outside of your torso. And maintain the connection with your right leg. So your right foot extends down towards the floor. And again, if you have the flexibility, you can hold the left foot with your right hand. Twist. You might not go very far, and it's enough of a twist. Otherwise, bend your knee and twist. So the left arm is extending out. You want to keep your shoulders somewhat level. or at least the left shoulder close to the floor. Settling breaths. So transitions are always really important. I talk about that a lot in the classes. So we don't just like get ourselves into the next pose. We watch how we go and we're mindful of our movement getting there and getting out of there. So start off by straightening the right leg and just roll over onto your stomach. The left knee stays bent. You can come up onto your elbows. You can also straighten out your left leg. And then just become aware of your right leg in space. So imagine if you could draw a line where your heel was in proportion to where your hips are. What would that look like? And then same thing, if you want to go a little bit further, you can straighten your arms and go higher. Noticing that the angle of your head and where you're looking does change the stretch. And then you start to pull in. So you want to feel that there's engagement around your core, not only the front, but also the back. Bend your elbows, pull in. The left leg is just going to come along for the ride as you lean back into the right heel. All right, so blocks handy, just like the other side. You want to put a block under the left hip or a pillow or something, and take your right foot outside your hip. And so you don't want to pull the foot, yank it really far off. You just want it to be outside the hip, just enough. And then you can lean back into your hands. You can go all the way back to your elbows too. And if it's possible even to have your hips on the ground, you can go way back. Maybe even drop your head if your neck says it's okay. And then come back up. Coming up forward onto the left foot. Stack the right hip over top of your right knee and take your right hand to your left knee. All right, so block can be in the left hand, and you can reach your right arm up towards the sky. Feel your heart lift, then drop your hand behind your head. And your left hand can stay on the block or it can move to your back foot. Think of your elbow lifting up. And then come back forward with your hands. Pigeon with your left foot in close to the groin. Your left knee can reach out to the side. You can sit up tall. Then down to your elbows. Take like 3 deep, long breaths. All right, and then come up to sit. Now, it doesn't matter how you do it, which direction you face, but you want to extend the left leg out to the side. And just bend your right knee so your foot comes in close to the inner thigh. Then turn yourself over to the left foot. You can reach your hands up towards the sky. First, just to extend your spine, and then to come down. A nice stretch. Drop your right shoulder If you're feeling really tight, you can bend your left knee a lot. You can even kind of put your arms under your knee. Let your forehead rest. And as you open, your hands might move back to your foot or down your leg. All right. And then just come up and bring your right hand behind you. Nice little release of that. You just lift your hips up into a wild thing variation. And then hips down and change it out. Right foot out, left leg in. Look to your right toes. Increase the length of your spine up. And then back down. And drop your left shoulder. Making the stretch work for you. Okay. And then come up and bring your left hand behind you. Just again, a little reverse out of that. Lift your hips. Wild thing variation. All right. And then come to seated. So a couple things. I do always like to encourage some inversions. So reversing the flow of blood. What I'll do is say, if there's an inversion that you choose to take, whether it be a headstand or you have a wall or you like handstand, do that. I'll stick with you for a few more minutes so I can cue you to come out of it if you want to get into it right now. If you want a longer Shavasana, go into Shavasana at the moment. And then there's like another option that we can take for an inversion. And this inversion, I think I did it last week, but specifically if you're quite tight or sore in your cervical spine, you might want to go into this shape. So we start off first, you can even just put anything under your hips. And now having your hips, your feet higher than, so your pelvis and your toes, higher than your heart, and your heart higher than your head, that's an inversion. So just by doing this, and 7 minutes I find is like the goal. 7 minutes is the amount of time where I feel you get the transformational effects of the pose. And so you can stay like this as long as you want. Some people also like to lift their hands up. Go into this shape. Now, the next thing you can do is you can lift up into shoulder stand. And obviously I am speaking to those following along in this shape, but if you are in headstand or handstand or another variation or inversion, just continue onward and I'll cue you to come out of it when the time comes. So a shoulder stand coming up with your toes up over your head. And so starting off with your hands up your back. The thing about a shoulder stand is please don't crank your head to one direction to look at your TV or computer screen. You want to keep your chin right in close to your chest. You want to be looking up. And keeping your feet right up over your hips as much as possible.
Now, you can stay here as long as you want, and some people like to play with this and lift their feet or hands up also towards your feet. Go for it. Challenge your core strength. And the other thing you can do, which I personally always need this, it's not something I love, but you can start to bring your toes to the ground of your head. Now, if you get along the way and you kind of feel like, oh, that's a lot, just bend your knees. Let your knees rest onto your forehead. So just being really gentle with our spine. If you feel ready or willing, you can straighten your legs into plow. Plow would mean that your toes are touching the floor over your head, and your legs can straighten. You can interlock your fingers and pull them down to the floor, even. Come back into that shoulder stand if you were in plow, lifting your feet over top of your head, over top of your shoulders, your hips. And then see if you can gently drop your hips back down onto your block or your pillow. And just leave your feet over top of your head. 1 more minute. Now within the next maybe 5 or so breaths, if you are in an inversion, you're going to take your time to slowly come out of it and drop right into Shavasana. If you've been in Shavasana, wonderful. Enjoy the long rest. Let yourself settle. Be sure that your feet are wide, your palms, they face up. And your shoulder blades just kind of relax away from your ears. Your breath is free. It's not labored. You're not restricting any breath flowing in or out. And if you've been practicing the Ujjayi breath, the noisy, active breath, let it soften and go. And it's just easy breath, in and out. Now stay here as long as you wish. I'll see you next Friday. Namaste.